today they told me I was to talk about the transformation more and explain it to you. And when I first started my mission, I believed that not only was I learning about the cultures and how to survive on Earth and the consciousness of mankind, but I was to teach them about soul and about the real essence of what a human being is and your connection to the ancestors who brought you here. And then I found out, because I go by the guidance of my ascended masters who reside in the higher dimensions, and sometimes when my body is resting, my consciousness is having meetings with them and they're informing me what my next step is on my mission on Earth. And I found out I feel like a space pilot. Venus to Earth. Over, is anyone there? Anyway, I found out that I had a much higher mission than I had believed. And I was like frightened because when I first started, I asked them, what am I going to do in workshops with people? What am I going to say? And they said, just be yourself, share your love, and your knowledge and your awareness and experiences. That's all they want to know is about you. And so then when they told me that I was to be involved in a very big process on Earth called the transformation, they had been having meetings, intergalactic meetings with higher spiritual beings that manifest just for these meetings, and it was over what was going to happen to the Earth. It was over the fate of this planet and the civilizations. And I said, I'm involved in that. And they said, yes, you have a great deal to do. You have to inform the people about the transformation process, which now has been decided in favor of the Earth, because there were some aliens who really didn't care what happened to the Earth or the people, but there was many thousands who were involved in supplying the Earth with many of its life forms and its beings that were concerned and wanted to protect the Earth. And so my job was to inform people that a transformation was to begin, and it would change the whole civilizations, but add a protection to the Earth. The Earth would be protected, but it would go through, each individual would go through a process that would generate new chakra systems that have more chakras and more energy coming from the higher levels, and that the brain would, the two brain halves that were separated would once again be synchronized and work together as one. And so this process was explained to me that the higher beings in the other dimensions are sending energy from their level, and the space people in different locations around the Earth, of course you can't see them, they're vibrating at such a high frequency, but they're sending energy from their ships, and the plants and the animals and nature, everything is changing its frequency to support this transformation system. I had to relay this information to humans. And so I began my process of teaching this information to people and explaining what would happen to the physical body, what changes you could feel and notice, and what would happen during the transformation and after. So I had a lot of work to do. And I was like, wow, can I really do this? Because I was not really confident in myself. I wasn't aware that I could actually do this. And it became a real big process. I mean, it's like you've got to take the people and spend a whole 2 days with them. going through the whole process of breaking down old belief systems and concepts and replacing them with new truths and knowledge, because you want them to know that what is happening is real and is true, and they can let go of their fears, of any other predictions and things that are circulated to take their mind off the transformation process, because there's always circulated prophecies and destruction, and then people are all focused on that instead of putting their energy on the transformation process. Their attention has been taken into a negative direction, and it was really difficult to try to encourage people to focus on their own evolution and awakening process and becoming aware and keeping your attention on the positive and not giving in to the fear and criticism and things that go on in society, like the news. I mean, you watch TV, you see about wars, you see ugly things that are happening, and they're happening all the time because new souls are coming in and they're on a lower consciousness, and part of their evolution and learning process is to be these lower forms of beings who control, who hurt, who even kill each other. I mean, it's terrible, suffering they go through, but they choose this because they have to experience everything. Everything is important for them. If it looks ugly and negative, it's only that they have to have this experience to understand what they are not. And we have to not be afraid and not give in to criticism or hatred of them, but send our blessings and support the process of the transformation of the earth. And you can't do it if you're focusing on the negative aspects. And so it was a big process. And then I was told that I would actually create a meditation process, which human beings then could participate at their own time in their own place and support a worldwide meditation that would enforce and uplift and help the transformation. It's kind of hard to drink water with this without sticking the microphone in there. If you see me vibrate and you hear a funny noise, I'm gone. I got the microphone in the water. But it's necessary to drink water. Yeah, right. Anyway, I have to drink because I forgot yesterday and I get dehydrated. It's not good. Anyway, I set about meeting with different people from different locations at a big meeting in Germany. And these people were from everywhere, all ages, to decide a special day for our meditation called Operation Peace. And it was a program that, and we had to choose a day, so everybody wrote on a little piece of paper, and we had crystals and candles and all that, and we met in a big room, and everybody put their little piece of paper in the middle, and we wanted to choose a day that didn't interfere with other religious happenings on earth, and so we chose Wednesday, because it was the middle of the week and we thought it was a good day. And this was our meditation for the transformation called Operation Peace, and it was on the internet and everywhere for years. People had bumper stickers asking about Operation Peace, and they would gather in people's homes and play my meditation CD, sit together and do a group meditation, have some tea and some kind of little eating, and just make a kind of gathering and exchanging ideas and supporting with the earth. And then I told people, what you do on this day is you choose 10 minutes that you have quiet time. It doesn't matter what time. It's all up to you as an individual, because it doesn't matter. there are different time zones all over the world, but all of it's done on Wednesday. So because you choose your own time, whether it's before you go to bed, after you get off from work, first thing in the morning, you decide by yourself what's the best time. And then if we're meditating and we're focusing on the transformation process and supporting it in peace and love for the earth, we're creating a spiritual united force. We're all focusing on the same idea at the same time because the world has different time zones for it, a 24-hour process. This is Operation Peace, and that's what we did. So it's been in process since 93 or something, really a long time ago. But it's very successful and people still meditate. Wednesday is still a special day for this reason, and it gives you an opportunity to do something on your own to support the process. So I'm just telling you about it and introducing to you. But after years of teaching about the transformation, doing the meditation, everything to enlighten people and bring this process into the awareness of people. And I traveled all over and spent years and years teaching about the meditation and about the transformation process of the earth because I wanted this to be supported and be a part of everything. And I thought, well, now I see the whole picture because I also at the same time received information about the true story of Christ because I existed as one of his disciples during that time, and I completely did not support him or give him a whole belief because at the time I wasn't aware of what he really was. But I learned more about it after his death. And, of course, I felt bad. And then when I came back this time, I had an opportunity to inform people that after his death, the negative forces that actually set up the whole idea of killing Christ also set up an idea to generate people doing everything in Christ's name. And it was intended to hold Christ as like he couldn't return to earth because he had so much karma from all these human beings who were living their whole lives and everything they were doing was in Christ's name. And they were holding him responsible for everything. And they didn't realize that they were doing this because they thought it was good. And then I had to make them aware, so I wrote this and made it available to people, but it was never published in my books because the publishers were afraid of the reaction from the organized religions because they have a great deal of control and power on earth, unfortunately. But there is so much that's written in my information over the process of what happened to people, how the manipulation of the human brain came about, the invasion, wars that happen that people don't know about. That is all in my unknown history of the earth. And then there's the transformation. I was working all this stuff and I thought, my God, I'm doing so much. And meantime, I was working on the astral with souls of children before they were born because they needed to recognize me and my teachings in order to find their right way in this new transformation process. And I had many meetings with these children on earth after I had met them on the astral, which was really amazing. I mean, mothers have come to me and said, is this one of your children? And I would say, I don't know, bring him to me and let's see. And she'd bring the baby and he would just laugh and jump right in my arms because he knew me, of course. And it was so amazing. I mean, these things overwhelm me sometimes. I was I couldn't even believe it myself. I mean, I knew I was having the experience, but I never knew that I would absolutely meet them, individually. This was really something and wonderful. But then I was feeling okay, real pretty proud of myself. And I went to the masters at one meeting and I said, hey, I have a complete picture now of everything that's happening and my part. I was so proud. And they were shaking their heads. And I said, what do you mean, no? And they said, no, your complete picture is only a small piece of the puzzle of a greater picture. Oh, I said, no. I said, that's it. I'm going to continue my work, but I'm not going to worry about the complete picture. I finished with that. Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you're working with the spiritual beings. The masters are funny sometimes. They make me laugh, and sometimes they confuse me too, because they'll tell me, for instance, you can't remember what you've forgotten. But you must not ever forget what you know. And you have to think about that for a minute. It's true. You can't remember what you forgot, but you must remember always what you know. And that's the information that soul has. Soul has the information that you should never forget. And the mind can only remember temporarily what it knows. And you got to connect the two somehow. And they always make me laugh with these sayings, because then it's like a puzzle and I have to work on it for a while. And when I tell people, it confuses them, but that's okay. We're still confused on a higher level, right? We're all confused, but on a higher level. That's my favorite saying, too. So I want to share with you about the transformation. It's a process that was intended to raise the earth, people, civilizations, and individuals into a higher frequency, but on such a subtle level that it's not noticeable. So there's no damage to the physical body, and it's a process that's gradual, so that even though there are changes taking place in your body, you won't notice them so much, but some of them you'll notice. For instance, you may have short pains or sharp pains just for a second in different parts of the body, your locations of the body, and this is the chakras and things being generated through this energy support. And you may hear high-pitched sounds in your ears, and you may go a long time and not be hungry, and other times you can't get enough to eat, and things like that. But it's important to drink lots of liquids, because you are also changing the whole cellular structure. So you need to cleanse the body of all the toxins, and lots of fresh Norwegian water because you have lots of lakes here. I know you have lots of fresh, good water. And so the transformation process, like I said, is you are going to create new chakras, and one of the chakras will actually be in the aura, not in the physical body, but above the head in two places. So there is a whole new system. And I think at one time I drew a chart, and maybe it's available somewhere, of how these two chakras will look kind of like Mickey Mouse ears. But they're not visible. They're somewhere up here. But it looks funny. In the drawing it does. So you got to realize that your mental telepathy will be returning. And if you think about someone and you haven't seen them in years, all of a sudden they will contact you out of nowhere because they got the information. That's part of the transformation. and you'll find that your telepathic powers are returning, and psychic powers, different things, intuitions you didn't know you had. And this is all a part of the transformation process. And also, there are pamphlets laying out on my table about a project called Omnec Oasis. It is a community, a spiritual community that I have for years had people helping me to visualize so that we can create this as several different spiritual communities. And they're huge. I mean, they will support hundreds of people. And it's so that we can work together after the transformation, and a place where you can meditate, you can share your healing abilities, your interests, or just help support the place physically. And so that we can make the transition from the monetary system to a system of self-supporting and bartering, trading whatever talents that you have. It'll be a totally different way of existing. And the information is available on my table. It's called Omnec Oasis. It's also on the internet website. But there are many people that might be interested in such a community because it benefits everyone. You can come and receive new information about how to exist in this transformation. It'll come directly from the higher realms and from the space brothers and your ancestors. You'll be supplied with new technology, techniques, everything will be there. We'll have invention places, creative places for music, for everything, and everyone is accepted. No one is turned away, because my concept and idea is that everyone is accepted and loved, and there is nobody on earth that I don't love or accept, because I'm not better than God. And if God loves and accepts everyone that He created, I certainly have to, and I will. And the Oasis will be a place for everyone. Everyone will be welcome. It doesn't matter if you like to drink or smoke. We'll have a party house. We'll have smoking areas outside. We'll have everything for everyone. We'll have restaurant. We'll have shops where you can get information, books, paintings, whatever people contribute. You come and you receive something and you give something. That's what the place is about. So that information is available outside. And I guess we're going to go into questions for people, because I was told you'd like to ask questions. So we'll take the time to answer questions. If I can see, it's hard to see. If I can see. Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Oh, you're welcome, honey. Thank you. She's getting the microphone.
Okay.
She's going to be the TV moderator.
Thank you. I'm wondering, I can see aura from the other speakers, but I cannot see an aura around you. Why?
Because I have a protection.
Okay.
I have a special protection that's around my body now, because I didn't have it before, and I became very ill several times because people would attack me through my aura. So now I have a special protection that the masters have supplied me with. Some people call it like a titanium aura.
Hi, are you familiar with something called monoatomic gold?
No. No, I have not whatsoever any scientific information. I have a little that my uncle supplied me with. He's the scientist. Odin is his name. He accompanied me to Earth, and he lives on a big mothership, and he is doing scientific research into technology and things like where that you can step into a little room and you automatically will appear somewhere else. All these kind of things. And the new technology for the Earth, that's his criteria. And he's the one that supplies me with any kind of technical information that I know. But actually, I'm very technically retarded. I don't know anything about technology.
So happy to have you here today. You have such a wonderful gift to give everyone, wonderful knowledge. I was just curious, have your Venusian brothers and sisters sent anyone down here on the planet to help us out?
There's many of us working in your society, as well as Martians and the other people from other planets, working for short periods in the government, undercover, of course, in the scientific fields, and they're dedicating stuff to the benefit of mankind. And it's hard because they have to work somehow like undercover and integrate this information because there's so many factors that don't want anything free or beneficial for people. They want all monetary systems to be supplied and all the energy sources to be monopolized. So it's very hard, but they're working very diligently on this.
This is a question about human history. Around the time of Lemuria, it was understood that the human brain was split into two halves. Was it also such that before that we had the 12 DNA strands that were reduced into two?
Yes. At the collapse of Atlantis and Lemuria, it was because of an invading force that came from the Palladian system, and they wanted the technology and the knowledge, and they were reluctant to share this unless the awareness of the people were different. And they were afraid to be responsible for sharing this technology with someone, and then it was used for war or controlling, so they were not willing to share this information. So they were invaded, and a huge war took place on Earth, which at that time the Earth was like a paradise, and the people had great awareness and different abilities than they have now, healing techniques and just natural abilities that were God-given. And they had hidden temples located at different places around the Earth, and they had the structures built around the planet to support and harmonize the atmosphere and the weather conditions on Earth, because there was such an effect because of the one moon. So they built these, there was these crystal structures around the equator, and they held in place frozen ice structures that protected the Earth and gave a balance to the environment and ceased the storms and calmed the whole planet. And they were called the, I can never remember. Oh, firmaments. Yeah, I wrote about it and I forgot. Anyway, they were called firmaments. It was frozen ice particles that were held in place. And the ships that came to Earth could change their vibration and pass through without any damage. But during this war, they were destroyed, and the Great Flood came, which you know about from the biblical times. And they knew that this was going to happen, and many of the beings escaped into the center of the earth for protection. The children, the teachers, a lot of the scientists fled. And then the main part of the people stayed behind and destroyed the technology rather than give it to have it taken. And there was such a thing, it's a few people that survived in these arks. There was many of these arks that were built, not just one, like the Bible talks about. Anyway, so they survived, but then the invaders returned when the flood receded, and they had found some of the temples, and they took the technology of these people and genetically manipulated the people and divided the brain and left intact only the part that functioned in the physical realm and nullified the half that connected to the higher dimensions and gave the abilities to the human beings. So the human beings had no identity, no memory, no nothing anymore. They weren't aware of their greatness, and they had to be given new identities, and these invading beings then set about dividing the races of people according to their skin, setting up themselves as hierarchies and as kings and overseers of the races, and then religions were developed and teachings, and controlling started, the whole system. And that's how come the people to be the way they are today. That's part of it. Anyway, it's all in my information. It's all available. It's very detailed. There's a lot.
I wonder about the UFO ships. How are they moving? Are they using crystals and telescopes to get ships moving? Do you know about?
Well, yeah, some of their technology involves magnetism, and it's a resonating magnetic frequency, but they do have crystals which convert sunlight into the energy that they need. And part of it is their awareness. They use their mental abilities also to guide the ship. You got to have a certain awareness to have this technology. And they can change the frequency of the ship.
Once I got just a picture that came into my head that I saw there are some crystals, and then you move it around, they get one planet and change the crystals, they went another way.
Exactly. They have these abilities because crystals can retain information that is placed within them. Technically, they place information, the crystals retain that information, and they use these crystals for everything, and that's where part of our technology comes from.
Regarding the transformation in the chakras, how many did we start out with? How many do you have now? Is it different from people to person? Or?
No, every person has 7, right? I originally had 7, and I think there's going to be 12 or 13 or even more when it's totally over. But each chakra relates to a higher dimension. And the energy from this dimension, as I mentioned the other day, gives you certain abilities and abilities within the physical body and connects you to the higher dimensions. Yeah.
Are you familiar with something called aura transformation?
Call what?
Aura transformations.
No.
New stuff going on there. I don't know what else to discuss.
Well, Conrad, I don't know either. So we're both in the same ship. I can explain it to you because I really don't know.
Thank you again. I was so lucky yesterday. Jerry take away the chips I have got in my head from 1997 when I been streamed up, me and my youngest daughter.
Yeah, I heard about that. So
Yeah.
somebody helped you yesterday?
Yes, Jerry.
Oh,
I'm
wonderful.
so free. I'm standing on my feet. I'm not addict anymore, and I feel very, very well.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm really happy.
And he also learned me how I can take out the chips from my youngest daughter.
Really? Wow, that's wonderful.
Yes,
That was Jerry, huh?
yes.
Yeah.
And I must ask you, can the Satan, can they come again and stream me up and
No.
do they not look at me?
No, honey, because of the transformation, we have connected all the hidden temples with the energy band around the earth to protect the earth. And these negative aliens cannot come here anymore unless you invite them. So the world is protected from this because each individual has the right by spiritual masters to protect them. And you only have to tell your masters, I don't wish my body to be invaded, and I reject these forces. I don't want them. And they won't come, and they can't enter the earth. And they can't cross over this energy protection.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're very lucky.
But but I'm wondering also, why do they bring us up? What is so special with us? So
I don't know. I don't.
you cannot answer that.
I believe these beings don't have the emotions that we have or the awareness, and their curiosity makes them treat us like insects or something under a microscope. So they're not aware that we feel, we hurt, we have emotions, we have physical pain, because they don't have this ability. They have genetically manipulated themselves to where they're almost all machine and very little human left of them. I mean, they have no human abilities or feelings.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And also, the karma of people were released in 1999. All your karmic debts were released so that humans had a chance to start a new existence without old debts, bringing them in non-ending cycles over and over to repeat lessons and over, because they never got out of the cycle. So the karmic debts were released, and you just have to make clear what makes you uncomfortable and clear up any misunderstandings with any person so that you don't create any new karmic conditions for yourself. So you're free.
You mentioned our 7 chakras.
Yeah.
I have, from different sources, learned that we are going to evolve up to 12 chakras.
Yeah.
And there also we will have the strings, DNA strings, so DNA chains. They will also be 12.
Yeah.
Now, mostly have people, except from some perhaps have 2, are going to evolve to the 3rd one, depending from this, from the conscious, the frequency
Right.
of conscious. Do you have any comments to that?
No, all that is happening in the transformation process. It's very, very involved and very, very intricate. But each individual is going through a transformation depending on that abilities that person is capable of. Because every individual is different. So it works differently in each individual, but it's working. And we have the New Age children, which were born, and they're born with everything intact. A lot different than us, and because they are the future of the earth. And many of these children are born in terrible situations around them because that's where they're needed the most.
Sorry. I just want to say something from what you told.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I experienced that some get out some angst from me and woke up under operations. And I later got the answer from someone that we had a I was told that before we went to Earth, I had an agreement that most of this soul, I should tell, didn't have any feelings, and this race was going to die out if they don't get the eggs from someone who has DNA and that has feelings.
Yeah.
And so I know, they told me that I had a daughter from this mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The harvesting.
Yeah, the harvesting. So, and that we have the agreement before I went to Earth.
Yeah, some people have made this agreement. That's true. And I can't tell you what to do about that except to ask your masters, your higher beings, for guidance. And if you are sorry that you made this deal and this agreement, is there any protection for you? I'm sure there are. But I think that you would have to contact your personal spiritual guide and ask for guidance and protection. And I think that you can.
Could you please comment on the cold crop circles? Are they part of the transformation process for mankind and for the earth?
Yeah, it is information. In these crop circles, there is messages, puzzles. People have to work it out and figure it out. If they're intending to find out what it means, it's information, sometimes mathematical, sometimes technical, logical. It's really incredible. I mean, they really do a lot of work to create these. They create them with very small ships that change the energy. But they're beautiful. A lot of people study this and know more about it than I do. But I know it's information for people.
I have a few questions regarding music, actually. I was wondering if you have any knowledge of how they kind of use from other planets to kind of, because music is what brings us together, and I also know that.
Yeah, music is a universal language.
Yeah. I also know that on this planet, maybe at the Second World War, we started changing the frequency we broadcast music in from 432 hertz to 440.
Exactly.
Because that influences our brains in a kind of different way.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you know something about this term and how they kind of used it against us for an event, that they can if you use high frequencies, they kind of mess up the head's understanding of music in a kind of way. Because as I understand, the music is in 432 hertz, and this all the sounds in the universe is around this harmonic hertz kind of.
Yeah, the music can affect you, and it's embedded deep in the memory. When you hear certain music, certain memories are brought back, because sound is something very important to the Creator, and it appears to mankind through light and sound. God is, through light and sound, changes the awareness and the frequency of a human being. And on other dimensions, we have musical instruments you don't have on Earth, like harps that can be played by the wind, and water can create music flowing through certain instruments. We have all this kind of stuff that's unimaginable. And some of the New Age esoteric music is actually brought down from the higher dimensions, and through these people is made available on Earth. And I love it. I think it's very wonderful. But some music can affect you very negatively, like heavy metal. That makes you want to bang your head on something. That's not my favorite. That's, to me, very destructive to mankind. It generates destructive feelings within a human, I believe. And some people like it, you know. They get really excited when they hear all this, and they don't realize that it's negatively affecting their body and their behavior because they're caught up in that anyway. But I like mellow, classical. I love oldies, you know, oldies, rock and roll. I like folk songs. I like all that stuff. There's not much limit to my love of music, because I said it's universal. It's something that affects every person of every age, and music is beautiful. And I have 2 boys who started playing at age 7 by ear. I came in one day and I had an old piano somebody gave me, and I heard Chariots of Fire playing. And I went in there, my 7-year-old was playing the whole melody, not missing a note. And I was so surprised. He was only 7. He heard it on the radio and sat down and began to play it. And I was like, wow. But to him, it was mathematical. That's what he said to me. I said, yeah, but I can't do that. I love it. I wish I could. But he is remarkable. And I've got 2 now, the youngest one also. And they have different fathers. So they always say, well, it came from you. Everything, the children explain that all their mental abilities, because they're really bright in school, came from me. And I said, really? Of course it makes me proud, but on the other hand, I didn't realize I had all these abilities. But apparently in my past I do. But I think they brought it with them. Anyway, I made them learn music, because I said, you must learn to read music. Even though you mathematically can create this music, you want to play with other people and share this, you know. So I love music, yeah. And my music producer's in the audience. Wolf Wimney, he's here, that made my CDs and everything. You right, Wolf? Okay. Anyone else?
Tell us more about the ancestors and the original intention of the earth.
The ancestors of the people?
You mentioned the ancestor earlier.
Ancestors. There's.
Please go as far back as you can.
The ancestors of the races of Earth are the Martians, the Jupiterians, Saturnians, and Venusians. They came here from other systems long ago in great motherships to bring human beings to this solar system because they were guided by their spiritual masters. And when they came, they had to find planets as new homes because they were going to now be human beings in this solar system. And they chose Mars, Saturn, Venus, and Jupiter because at the time Earth wasn't created. But they watched the creation of the Earth as it was growing, and they had civilizations and developed a whole world on their own with the people they brought with them. And then eventually they helped to supply the Earth with minerals, plants, and animals, and these life forms traveled from other systems to come to Earth and to create a fantastic and harmonious environment for human beings to live in on a planet in kind of a paradise. So they all cooperate and work together. All the plants, animals, and everything on Earth was a cooperative, volunteer. It was all supported because these beings wanted to create this planet. And the first inhabitants were the 4 major planets. They didn't have enough room on Earth for all the beings, so they had to leave some on the surface. And then when the planet, because of their technical development or and ignorance at the time, or if it was a natural dormant stage that the planet goes through, it was no longer able to support human life. So the ones that stayed behind, their planet was dying, and they just was doing meditations and everything. Then the spiritual hierarchy said, because of your unselfishness and giving and helping to create such a beautiful planet called Earth, we will raise your civilization's vibrations and transfer you to a higher dimension so you can stay there and still keep in contact with your relatives on Earth. And so they created Earth and these the protection for the Earth, and all of the colonies like Lemuria, the Aztecs, the Egyptians, all of these were from these 4 planets, and in Africa as well. There was temples that were hidden and created again around the Earth, and this, was the first civilizations on Earth. And so their ancestors came from other galaxies far away and eventually to these 4 planets, which were the original races that now exist on Earth. And then this war came about, and then the manipulation of the human beings, and it resulted in what we have today. And now we have the transformation process, which is helping us to go back to the original humans we were. That's about it.
Thank you so much. Do you have any information or knowledge about Andromeda?
About what?
Andromeda? The planet Andromeda.
I've heard about it, yeah. No, I don't have much information on it because I don't read that much about different things. I have to focus on what I teach. But I'm aware there's many planets and many benevolent beings that are helping with the transformation. The transformation of the Earth was a cooperative thing done by thousands of beings who were interested in the Earth being protected and changing the consciousness. But I know there's many out there.
I'm very happy to meet you here, that you came here.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. And I would you please give us a little meditation?
A meditation?
Yeah,
Sure.
thank you.
I think it'd be good to do the meditation that harmonizes the emotions and the feelings, and it helps you to be able to concentrate more, and because you had a lot of information coming in. So we'll do Kala, which is the astral. This harmonizes the energy and the emotions. We'll do Kala 6 times, and it's Kala, and we'll chant this 6 times, and then we'll sit in silence, and I'll say Barak Abshad to bring the whole group back together again. We sit in a position with both feet, if I can do it, talking about it, together or crossed, and the hands clasped on the lap. You form a channel for the energy to flow through the crown chakra and through the feet, through the, from the earth, so it makes a flow for the body. And then we take 3 deep breaths, and we focus on the third eye area, just above and between the eyes, as if there's a TV screen on the inside of your head, and you focus with your mind, not your physical eyes. And then you take 3 deep breaths, and I'll say we will begin. We shall begin. Baraka Bajad. Oh, I want to mention something before I leave. At the end of my book, there is a new chapter that was written and shared with me by Scott Limerill. Yeah. And I talked to him, and he sent me this information. And it's absolutely enlightening and beautiful meditation for the transformation process. It's a visual. You read it, and it takes you on a journey, and it opens up a connection within yourself to a higher ray that is absolutely incredible. And he allowed me to integrate this into my book, and so it was a cooperative thing. And so I'd like to say thank you to Scott for that, and let you know that he contributed this to the book, and it's available because I know that his information is very valuable to people. And I want to thank you very much for being here and sharing time with me, and just for being, because I'm happy to share time with you. Thank you very much.